So my today's talk is going to be about how we fuse art and technology. I grew up in Pune. I was like passionate about art at a very young age, and obviously my parents played a very big role in it. I was the world's youngest origamist at the age of 4. And I had crafted like, so origami is an art of paper folding where you take a square piece of paper and fold it without sticking, cutting, you build objects out of it. The EDC's logo that I saw outside is also actually an origami bird. And you know, like I felt that art has a lot of significance as part of our daily lives. And I mean, this EDC bird, like the logo, it actually means, I don't know how many of us know this, but you know, it actually means that it signifies creativity and it signifies freedom. I mean, that's what entrepreneurship is all about creativity and freedom. So, like I started off as an artist. I had crafted like more than 1,000 models at the age of 7. I used to, like fill up exhibitions and, you know, like my models won prizes in Japan and all over the world. And, you know, because of that, I actually got into technology. You know, like it was a most unforeseen thing that I would actually get into technology because I always wanted to be an artist. But by luck, I got into technology, and my father got me the first computer at home, and I started using it. And I started learning, like I spent a lot of time at home. I used to bunk school quite often, and I used to hate that whole organized setting of learning. So I used to prefer learning on my own. So I used to read books, I used to read articles, and I used to learn on my own. So I learned programming, I learned several things, and of course I had some good mentors also in the process, you know, who were guiding me to the right books and the right places to look out for information. Throughout my life, I've been trying to find on how to connect the dots, or what I've done in the past, how will it connect in the future. And as mentioned by Sir in his talk, that you can always connect it looking forward. I mean, that's the famous quote by Steve Jobs, is that when you look back, you see that, oh, these dots actually helped me. And my life is essentially a story where I've been trying to marry art with technology. So I studied in the US, and I used to watch probably like a movie every day. Science fiction used to always fascinate me, and I was always fascinated by the way, you know, in this Minority Report movie, Tom Cruise used to interact with these displays, or the Avatar movie where, you know, they used to use these fancy screens and panels to actually interact. And I thought, is the future actually going to be like that? And I started my exploration in that direction, and like this is what I came up with. So coming back to the definition of art, art is actually the joy of creation. Art connects with people's emotions. Art has been an integral part of our lives since ancient times. I mean, right from the paintings in the caves to, you know, the modern art forms that you see probably like when you're surfing the internet or going to museums. Art has been an integral part of our life. And in fact, computer science was an art subject until I think the 70s, before it was called a science. Why? Because this code or whatever you used to write, it was sort of a poem. It was an art form that you used to write. Later on it became a science, but I think, you know, the world is realizing that things are converging back to art. I mean, I find computer programming as an art. What we do is that we create different kind of experiences for people. These are emotionally triggering experiences which combine pieces of hardware, combine pieces of software that we write, along with design and art. You know, that is like a very, very important part of this whole system, and we create experiences. So as a human being, like what are the different things that you do as part of your daily lives? Or there is a new paradigm called natural user interfaces. Like you're naturally interacting with certain things. Like mouse was the thing of the past. Now you're naturally interacting with devices like iPads or Android tablets, etc., your phones. So what all can you do with, like, by gesturing, by touching, by feeling, by waving, by interacting, is all creating an experience. Like whatever feedback you are getting is actually resulting in an experience. And all of that is actually a combination of hardware, software, and design that in totality is creating that experience. So this is a slightly technical slide. I don't want to go much into technicalities, but essentially the space that I like to work in, or what I'm currently working in, is called gesture sensing. And I classify gesture sensing into two main types. One is called referential gesture sensing. So mouse is a classic example, which is a referential pointing device. Like I move the mouse and it moves on the screen. You're using a reference of what you're moving here to move something on the screen. And the second type of gesture sensing is called immersive, where you yourself are part of something that you're interacting with. For example, like say you are folding a piece of paper, that is immersive. I mean, you are actually folding a piece of paper. If you are, say, touching a screen or scaling an image, like pinch, zoom, rotate, all these are gestures that you're performing on your tablet PC or on your phone in your daily lives. So multi-touch, like close proximity gesture sensing, like say approaching a display and waving your hand to do something on the screen, goes under close proximity or close proximity gesture sensing. And like most of us have seen this thing from Kinect, like from Microsoft, where you can use your whole body as a remote control to play a game on a screen. But this is also a reference. You are actually stepping back from the screen about like 8-10 feet away from the screen to actually play this game. But I feel that there are more senses that we have developed over time. There was one gentleman, one student actually from the audience who was asking me that, is wearable computing really going to be the future? Are we actually going to, roam around with heads-up displays? So I told him that we are actually starting that. I mean, all of us is actually carrying a very powerful computer in our pockets. And that computer has a lot of sensors in it, like a lot of different types of sensors in it. I mean, it has a camera, it has, audio transmitters, receivers. I mean, a lot of things that you can do as a human. This device actually has capabilities to accept and respond to these kind of gestures and things. So, mobile phones itself are going to become probably your next sense or the sixth sense that you would be interacting with computers with. So, to put it in a box, what we do is that we take regular off-the-shelf projectors, and this idea, it just evolved out of nowhere. Like we were working in the lab in college, and I was discussing this idea with a few of my friends, and it evolved. Just take a projector, take a computer, and say augment a space. Like you project something into a real space, and try to see if you can create interactions in that real space. So what we did with it is like, say you put a projection from the top, you couple it with an optical sensor, and say if you go and you see a football on the floor, you go and kick it, and it should move. Or say if two people want to just come and play in this virtual space, they should be able to play in this virtual space. So we're trying to augment projections into real life, which is like a level beyond having a device in your pocket. So this is another example of what you can do with augmented spaces, is that you can have 2-3 kids come at a time, step on something, say, the joy of, say, bursting a balloon, but without the, the things involved. the, you know what I mean. So the joy of, playing with something very intuitively, very, like getting emotionally involved in it. This is another type of application, like where we combine sensors and we put it up on a tabletop surface. So, you're used to seeing arts around you, like art forms around you. It might be in form of static art forms like posters or something. We're trying to see how we can make that art more interactive. How you can have people emotionally connect to a space, to a location, by using art and technology as a combination to build interactive art. So, say you can actually save a goal and have a ball coming at you on your face. Say you walk in front of a display and you get, say your shadow is seen on that display and you get wings. And maybe like you can use your hands to fly around. So all of this is art, and today's technology is actually making it possible to integrate this art and make it interactive. This is a small video that shows what we do. So this is an interactive art installed in a bar. It's in a fun zone. This is at a museum. You can just go and walk through a wall and see the history. Just point at something and see the history. Fun thing that we did in bowling alley. Yeah, so you can see there are a whole lot of possibilities which we haven't seen till today, you know, like on the way you can actually have art as part of your life, moving art as part of your life. Like we've been used to seeing static art and these forms. So gesture, or, you know, like having something augmented into a space is just one thing. We are also trying to explore, you know, on how we can bring art more closer to people. And so these are some of the devices, you know, which we are creating to see how art can be brought into homes, interactive arts can be brought into homes as part of your daily lives. So this is a coffee table which has a built-in computer into it, and you can do like a lot of things, like say, nowadays you don't play board games at home, you know, which I as a child I used to enjoy playing board games like Snakes and Ladders, chess, this, that. Nowadays everything is just moved to mobile gaming and everybody is gaming in their personal space. We have a dream that, you know, with devices like these, we want to bring that whole social factor back into homes. You know, where people love sitting around a table and they are using this gadget to actually, you know, play a game together with their family. Well, what do you do with your sixth sense? So you have a mobile phone in your pocket, you approach a display, and what all can you do with it? So this is another piece of technology which we have sort of fused up, where you can actually use SMS, calling, and voice without downloading any application on your phone to interact with displays. So one of the cool examples that we had set up was at a restaurant where we created this social experience where people are actually socially disconnected. Like people can actually shout out their messages on the wall. So there was a projection and it was sort of creating a graffiti wall, and people could just send an SMS to the number mentioned on the wall and it used to get spray painted on the wall. So it can be sharing some good experience that you're having there, you know, like say I'm enjoying this drink, I'm enjoying this particular thing that I'm eating, and you want to share it with the people who are around you. Today, you are only sharing it with, say, the people who are connected with you on Facebook, Twitter, or these other social networks. You know, we want to bring this offline social interactivity more, and we call ourselves as an offline media company, you know, where we are actually there where people want to interact with each other in real spaces, in real worlds, because real worlds are also going to coexist along with augmented worlds and artificial worlds. Well, to just give a leaving message on what we have learned throughout the experiments that we have been doing. Just art is passive. Just technology is very boring. It's when you combine these two things together and you involve people emotionally, mentally, physically in an art form, you can create a great experience. So what this experience should consist of is that it should trigger intuitively. And I think this doesn't only apply to what we are doing. You know, this applies across like all the computer science engineers who are here, who are going to create these next generation interfaces. Like you have to have that simplicity, you know, like you see a football, you go and feel like kicking it. Or say you like design this user interface which is so intuitive that people should understand it without actually reading a manual. Build surprises. So when we are creating these experiences, like on a bowling alley, you would never expect that there would be fire behind the ball. But, you know, like nobody was actually told that there would be fire behind the ball. But when they threw the ball, they would see a fire and they used to be surprised by it. So, like building surprises actually catches people's attention. And, you know, it's a much more better way to remember these kind of experiences. Build emotional connects. This is actually an example of an interactive installation that we did in Mumbai, where we had created a content where there were fireflies moving around the screen, and whenever you would come and keep your glass on the table, these fireflies would come and glow next to your glass. So, you know, as programmers, we are used to leaving bugs as part of the code. So, so this code had some bug where, like, after two people kept their glasses, the third one wouldn't get the flies. And people really got upset with this fact. They said that, you know, I've bought this drink, I need the flies to come to me. So this is the way, you know, art actually builds these social connects or these emotional connects with people who are there at these real spaces, at, you know, living in these real spaces. And it's really essential that whatever interactive art you create, they should build these emotional connects. And another thing that we have learned is that there are some things that you want to do but you can't do in real life. So, like say you want to play with butterflies, you want to walk on water. I mean, these all kind of fantasies, or say you want to, you know, do something that you probably have never even thought of you could do. Using these kind of augmented technologies, you know, we are trying to see how we can make the impossible possible. And this is just the beginning. I mean, we have a long, long way to go. You know, and whatever you see in movies, like there might be like there might be a time in future, in not very far from here, is that you might just raise your hand, you would experience nature like a butterfly coming and sitting on your hand, or you playing with the birds sitting inside your home. Thank you.